I recently picked up a new 50mm f1.2 lens from Artisan. Now, I personally got the Canon M Mount, but they actually make this in Sony E Mount, Fuji X Mount, Leica L Mount, and even Micro Four Thirds. So if you have a crop sensor mirrorless camera, there's a good chance they probably have one for your system. And most importantly, they're only selling for around $112 right now. So I'll have those linked below if you want to check them out. Build quality of this lens is absolutely amazing. You know, it's an all metal design. Even for this small size, it's actually got some weight to it. You know, it's ironic that here on the Canon M50, this lens actually weighs a little bit more than the M50 itself. Styling of this lens is kind of modeled after old school film lenses. You know, you've got a distance scale on the focusing ring, and you've got an aperture ring, which is well dampened. It has clicks, but they're really smooth, quiet clicks. And much like the old school film lenses that it's modeled after, this is a manual focus only lens. And something else that I think is weirdly cool about this is it not only does it have a metal lens cap, it's a screw-on metal lens cap. Image quality on this lens is surprisingly good for a $100 lens. You know, it's a little bit soft in the corners at f1.2, but that tends to sharpen up a little bit at f2, and it gets even better at f4. I will say too, I do notice a little bit of chromatic aberration at f1.2, but I mean, that's an easy fix. And also, there's a little bit of vignetting at f1.2, but that actually clears up by f2. Now, as far as lens flare goes, there is a noticeable amount of flaring, so you might want to use a lens hood. And the bokeh on this lens is actually really nice. It's kind of soft and pleasing. It's not too busy or distracting. It just, I don't know, it looks good. In the past few weeks of using this lens, one thing that keeps standing out to me is this lens just kind of has character. You know, for you guys that are regular viewers of this channel, you know that's something I talk about a lot is there's just certain things that kind of look different. This is one of those lenses that actually just kind of looks different. And it's not even the fact that it goes all the way down to 1.2 and you have that much more of a blurry background. No, it's not that at all. It's just, it just has a certain quality that I don't see in other lenses. I like that. Another aspect that I like using this lens for is videography or filmmaking, which in my case is admittedly just kind of filming the cats around the house, but it does look really good. You know, it's the most cinematic cat footage I've seen in a while, but I will say I do have a little bit trouble with manual focus at this point, especially manual focus with fast-moving subjects like that, because at this age, my eyesight is not exactly what it used to be. And so I do kind of have trouble making sure that things are actually in focus. So sometimes I'm just kind of like second guessing myself or just heavily relying on the zebras on the M50. Either way, video from this lens looks really good. And one other weird thing that I feel like I should point out, I don't know if it's just the Canon M version or if it's just my particular lens itself, but it is a little bit loose the way it sits in the lens mount. Like, let me hold that up to the mic. You can actually kind of hear it move around. It's kind of weird because, you know, you're manually focusing the whole time, and so as you're turning the focus ring, you can actually kind of feel the lens kind of accidentally moving around on the lens mount. You know, it's not a deal breaker, but it's a weird little thing that's worth pointing out. You know, I was kind of thinking like, who is a manual focus lens like this targeted at? And I'm guessing it's like the adapted lens crowd, you know, the people that are more likely to go out and buy an old school film lens because it has character and it's a bargain and all of that. And it's funny to say this because for someone like me who's just a huge advocate of buy it used, buy it old, you know, I never really buy new things on this channel. I'm always buying old stuff. This is one of the few times where I would actually consider buying something new. Like, this lens probably costs around the same that you would pay for an old school film lens. This lens is at 1.2, which you're not going to get out of an old school film lens, because at f1.2, those older film lenses usually tend to run like a higher price, like around $300 to $500. And on top of all of that, a big reason why you always buy those older used lenses is because they do have character. They've got a ton of character. They've got flaws, but they have character. This lens actually has character. You know, you've got that 1.2 aperture. It looks great in low light. It's surprisingly sharp for what it is. It has really cool character, and then on top of all of that, it only costs about $112. This is something that's definitely worth checking out. Anyway, I think that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.